If you've clicked on this video, chances are you've got a bit of a sensitive face, you get a bit of irritation after shaving, you get lots of red bumps on your neck, and really shaving's a bit annoying. A common question I get is what's a tip to help me improve shaving? And I think it's important more to think of it how Team Sky did with the cycling, of trying to make lots of things a little bit better as opposed to just one tip making a massive difference. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 7 tips for a more enjoyable shave. If this is the first time watching any of my videos, my name is Elliot Forbes, a barber based in central London, and this channel is dedicated to hair, beard, shaving tips for the modern man, and ASMR style shaving and haircuts. So if that's something you're interested in, you might want to consider subscribing. Tip number 1 is to make sure you prepare your face properly. Preparing the skin and making sure that it's ready to shave is so important. The ideal time would be straight after you've showered or after you've had a bath. The longer you spend in the shower, the softer the hairs become. They become more supple, the follicle opens up a little bit more. We want these hairs to be as soft as possible, reducing the chance of the razor dragging. When you're cleaning your face, make sure that you're using a gentle cleanser. I'd lean against using anything exfoliating at this point. We want something that's going to get rid of all the dirt, the grime that might be on the face, or any oil that might have built up. If you're not doing it after a shower, use a flannel, run it under some hot water, apply that to the face. We want to make sure that blood is circulating around, and then you want to apply a decent pre-shave oil. When I shave personally, I use an organic argan oil, but there are some very nice pre-shave oils you can get. I don't like anything too heavy. I like it on the finer side. The oil helps the blade to glide across the face a lot easier. It softens the hairs down even more so, again making them more supple, and then it acts as a barrier on the skin to help protect it and also to nourish the skin. Tip number 2, and it's to use a decent brush. A lot of the comments when I'm using a brush is, oh, isn't that so extra? Is that really necessary? And really, I think it makes a big difference. Part of the reason why I said to use a gentle cleanser in the first part, because the brush actually then exfoliates the skin when you're applying that to the face. So a double exfoliation wouldn't be great. So the brush, it gets rid of any of the dead skin cells that are on there. It then does a fantastic job of lifting the hairs up off the skin, pointing them out at the right direction. So again, easier just to take them off. If the hairs are stuck to the face and not lifted out, then it becomes a lot harder and you have to apply a bit more pressure to the skin. The brush is then obviously another layer of preparation, so softens the hairs down again more so. Ideally, you want to use warm water, keeping that face really nice and warm and keeping the heat in there. I never used to like it when you would use some of the squirty stuff out of the can. It comes out of the can, it's very cold, you apply that to the face, you're then negating the work that you did in the preparation because you're cooling the face down, tightening everything up. For me, it's kind of having the complete opposite effect of what you want to have. Number 3, try to use as few strokes as possible. Think about it, if you use a Gillette Fusion or a Mach 3, say if you're using the Fusion which has got 5 blades on it, if you're going down the face and going over that area 3 times, that's 3 times 5. So you're going 15 strokes over that essentially. Whereas actually if you just went down 1, 2, 3, there's going to be less irritation on the skin because there's simply less blades going over the face. Every time you shave and a blade goes over the face, you are making tiny incisions. So being as efficient as possible with the strokes makes a massive difference. Really becoming more precise, thinking about the manner in which you're trying to do it, and almost making sure that each stroke has a purpose to it. So to help that, you want to make sure that you have as flat surface as possible. Say if I was just to go over through here, there's a chance, because this area dips in when I shave, there's a chance to actually miss this area a little bit. So if I make sure, pull it, stretch it, get it so it's as flat as possible, I can just go over that with one stroke as opposed to having to go over it a few times. Think of it as though it's an ironing board. You wouldn't iron on creases, you wouldn't iron if it wasn't completely flat, and the same applies for when you're shaving. Flat surface, ironing board. Now, before we get on to this next tip, if you're enjoying the video, give it a little thumbs up, and if you aren't already, click subscribe. Tip number 4 is to use minimal pressure. So when you're shaving, if you want to go for a really close shave, it's very easy to think, right, I'm going to apply lots of pressure. The more pressure you apply to the face, the more damage you're going to be doing to it. That's also not great for creating the flat surface, because when you're pressing in, you're almost creating an indent. So underneath it then, that billows out, and you've got more chance of it then digging into that area. This then ties in with making sure that your blades are always really sharp. Use fresh blades, and never really go over 5 shaves with a blade. You want to feel as though the blade and the weight of the handle, that does all of the work. You don't want to be pushing in, you don't want to be applying the pressure. That sharp blade should be sharp enough just to be able to then just glide over the face, take that all off and get a really nice close shave. I personally put a brand new blade into my double edge razor every time that I shave, just because then it gives me the confidence. I know that it's not going to drag. I know that I haven't got to try and apply extra pressure to it. The blade is sharp, I can take it and I get a nice clean shave. Tip number 5 is to go with the growth pattern. I've had a load of comments saying, no, you're supposed to go back up against the grain when you shave. And then I've also heard comments saying, oh, why are you going up against the grain underneath? You're only supposed to go with the direction of it. And this is because my growth pattern actually goes down in this area, but actually from this area, it then grows upwards. So when I'm shaving, I only ever go with the growth pattern because my skin is really sensitive, really delicate. I can't go back up against the grain because it becomes so sore. I get razor burn, especially on the neck area. If I was to go against the grain, I flare up and I would get some spots. So assess where the growth pattern on your face is, whether it comes down, whether it comes across. A lot of people underneath, it does change direction very easily and very quickly. So I know when I'm shaving, I go down in this area and then I turn the razor back and come up, but down the grain because the growth pattern is going upwards through there. If you are very sensitive in this area and you get lots of red spots and razor burn underneath there, then it might be worthwhile using a transparent shaving gel just so that when you're looking in the mirror, you can absolutely see the growth pattern and to make sure that you're not going up against it when you're shaving there. Number 6 is to use decent aftercare products. As soon as I've finished shaving, I'll use an alum block. I'll run that under the water, run that over the face. It's an astringent, so it tightens the skin up, especially if you have any sort of like little nicks or any little cuts or any sort of razor burn. It's great for that, just to be able to tighten it all up. It does sting an awful lot, but the benefit of it way outweighs any of the pain that you do get from it. When you're shaving, you're putting your skin under a lot of stress. So I actually use really quite a lot of aftershave balm. My skin can really drink it in. I really work that into the skin. I'm very delicate with how I'm doing it. You don't want to be sort of really rough and aggressive because it has gone under a lot of stress, but you do want to make sure you're rubbing it in so it absorbs it. Obviously just being mindful of your skin type. So getting something that is great for sensitive skin or something that is better if you have oily skin. Making sure that you are putting enough of these products on there to make sure that it is nourishing the skin. And tip number 7 is to use a cold towel. Apply this to the face, it soothes the skin. Again, it's a natural form of an astringent, tightens the face up, cools the face down, it stops the blood from circulating so quickly and so vividly across the face. And it's a nice way of just finishing the shave. If you do all these things, it does add up to make a big difference. Part of the reason why I love going through this whole ritual is because then it turns it into an event for me. It doesn't feel as though it's such a chore. I used to hate shaving after a shower. I would quickly put a little bit of shaving foam on, just try and get it done. And then because of that, my skin used to flare up. I used to hate it. And that was part of the reason why I had a beard for 5 years. Now I've got these nice tools. I really enjoy it. It's something for me to really take my time over and have just a little bit of me time. So hopefully if you go through all these things, it'll make a big difference for yourself. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and press subscribe. It would be massively appreciated by myself. Any of you regular watchers, obviously this is a different type of Men's Grooming Weekly this week. Let me know what you think. Do we want to see more videos like this, or do we want to go back to the original format? Or if you've got any other suggestions, I'm all ears. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Have a brilliant rest of your day. Much love, Elliot.